I think the first time I met Bill was at a farm show. I kind of remember, my memory's a little foggy, but I think I was wheeling my wheelchair past a booth in a crowded Louisville farm machinery show, and I think Bill stepped out in the aisle and offered me a set of earplugs. And I told him that I don't need earplugs, my hearing's fine. And our path together started from there.
That was a trick, Ed. That was a trick.
I wish I should have started using those earplugs from the get-go. My left ear that's close to the muffler is not as good as it used to be.
I think that's an interesting observation, Ed, because I don't remember that, but I do know that in a week we'll be at Louisville again. I've been there. This will be 28 years. And I'll see somebody go by in a wheelchair, and I want to reach out and say, I think we got something that could help you, and they'll look at me like, run away. But if I walk out and say, here's some earplugs, it's sort of like a come on. But then you often open the conversation up and get it going, and then you can say, well, here's some other things that might be useful to you. So
what kind of conversation did you open up to Ed when he was amenable to discussing it?
I can't remember that too well, Ed. And I apologize for that. But boy, as you know, Ed, we've worked with thousands of people that we've come in contact, and I know this week has been a busy week. Boy, I've had a lot of new people that have called, and each one of them I think is special to us, and I just try to recall how we had ever opened the door, and maybe part of it is that I think that myself and my staff have an honest passion and empathy for people. And we want to open the door with some kind of a dialogue. We're not trying to sell anything. We're not trying to get them to join anything. We're just trying to hear some things that are what we're working on that might make your life a little bit more independent. And some people buy into that, others don't. And Ed was one that bought in very early. And I might say that we have learned a lot more from Ed than he ever gained from us. Ed is the kind of guy that helped early on in Breaking New Ground to put wheels under our dreams. And he helped validate what we were doing because he actually, commented that things that we, talked about and shared with him may have application. And I work at a university which is full of great ideas, but sometimes all those ideas don't go anywhere until somebody out in the real world puts wheels under them and applies them, whether it be on how to make corn grow better or strawberries get bigger or whatever it is. Somebody's got to actually try this stuff in the real world. And Ed was an early innovator on farming with a disability, and so he's in my mind, one of the significant contributors to helping farmers all over the country just become a little bit more independent in their lifestyle.
Ed, what kind of devices have you been using relative to your farming? We've gone past raising pigs now, and you had gotten into strawberries and other produce. What made the change, and why did you do that?
Well, I attended a short course at Purdue prior to my injury, and one of my professors there said that the future of agriculture, this is probably 1981, the future of agriculture is you're going to have to get big and make it on volume, or a very small percentage will continue to be small, but they'll have to be very good at being small. And I'm sitting in east central Indiana, kind of halfway between Indianapolis and Dayton, Ohio, on 72 acres, and I thought, wow, my young mind was thinking, wow, I only have 72 acres, I'm already small, all I have to do is learn to be good at it. So I went back home with a little different mind shift than my other classmates, and my goal was to actually build a retail agricultural enterprise where I can actually market directly to my customers. And my grandpa always said, find a niche and fill it. So even before injury, I was looking at niches that could be filled. I was raising green beans and sweet corn and selling them directly to the customers in addition to pigs. And I wanted to move that way. I'm right on a state highway, and I wanted to go in that direction. Well, the disability forced some really hard decisions. The pigs weren't a good thing for me physically, and then economically there's not just physical trauma, but there was huge economic trauma that impacted the entire farm. So we had to make some major changes. So we slowly liquidated the pigs, and my wife and I decided that we would expand the vegetable production and then start a new enterprise of strawberries and make that a retail business that would be accessible to me. And I didn't know a thing about strawberries other than I knew, no one else in my area raised them. So the last thing I want to do is compete with someone who has legs. It's easier to win a game if the other team doesn't show up. So I can do everything wrong and still have a slight possibility of success. And we planted our first crop of strawberries in 1985, and my wife and I just, she's a blessing.
For a city girl, you mean?
Yeah. I married a city girl, and she came to the farm. We both went through the violent experience, and we look at it this way. It's kind of like a welding torch with metal. When the heat can cut metal apart, or it can weld it stronger back together, and we chose the latter.
Apparently so. You both also have a daughter, which came as somewhat of a surprise back in, I believe, 92.
Right. The doctors said in those early days that that I would never walk and probably never have children, and for 9 years that seemed to be the case. But God definitely has a sense of humor. My wife and I were blessed with my daughter in 92, and now I have a teenager in the household, which she's a good kid, but that presents challenges of its own.
I'm sure it does. Which means that you're on the go even more. You have another area of expertise with the standing company. Would tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Well, going back to my dad's original advice, work is good therapy. Strawberries only take so many hours, and they're a seasonal crop. It's very intense work in the spring and throughout the summer. During our harvest time, which is roughly Memorial Day to Father's Day, we'll run on a good sunny Saturday afternoon. We'll run over 1,000 people through our little bitty farm in our driveway. It's just intense. We 12-hour days, 6 days a week during that harvest season, and then throughout the summertime, I'm on and off tractors, cultivating, weeding, irrigating, and just maintaining the crop. But come around the end of September, the crop starts to go into dormancy. Things are pretty well taken care of, and as late fall and winter kick in, I have a lot of free time, and that's not healthy for me. Both physically, it's not healthy for me, and more importantly, mentally, it's not healthy for me. Mm-hmm. I joke and say I was born with multiple disabilities because I'm the son of a Baptist preacher, but my dad gave a lot of sermons growing up talking about, the Ten Commandments, and where it says, take one day and rest. Well, the other side of that is take 6 days and work. And that downtime is not healthy for me. I really needed something to do. And I've had my fingers in lots of little activities, and in the early years, really before employment, Bill helped me a lot with that by keeping me active and keeping me going, keeping me on the road visiting other farmers, and assessing county fairgrounds for accessibility and churches, and just helping Bill with lots of projects. But in the last recent years, the Standing Wheelchair Company has asked me to be part of their project, and they're in Saginaw, Michigan, and they actually build wheelchairs that allow people to stand up, and there's just huge health benefits to that, and of course it greatly increases the independence of people with disabilities to be able to stand up again. And I had a lot of health problems before I was standing. It wasn't uncommon for me to be in the hospital maybe once a year because of like kidney infections and things, and all of that stopped. I'm just so much healthier now, and it's just another little step to help me cross back into the able-bodied world.
And what are some of the benefits in terms of the function of the bladder function and things of that nature?
Most important would be pressure sores.
Okay.
I've buried some friends that were chair users from pressure sores. In fact, Christopher Reeves died, I understand it, from this as a result of side effects from contributing to his death was pressure sores. Contractures, release contractures, spasticity. I no longer take medication for spasms, and of course I can stand up and hug a friend now or sing a hymn in church.
He's also a lot funnier.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched him all these years, and when he gets in front of a crowd now and stands up, he starts talking, and people laugh more. He's just more humorous. I don't know what there is about it, Ed.
I have a leg to stand on now.
Did you work this out together?
No.
I see. Our time is just about up. How could people reach you, Ed, in terms of the work that you're doing with the Standing Wheelchair Company, and if they happen to be wandering through Hagerstown, Indiana, one spring or summer day, I guess we can find out how to get in touch with you for that as well.
Well, if there's any rich lost relatives out there that are seeking to find me, anyone, all kidding aside, anyone can get in touch with me. The best way is through our family website, our farm website, which is eatmorestrawberries.com. There's information there not only about our farm, but about the services and speaking and so on that I provide. There's lots of information about the standing wheelchair, and there's links on my links page to Breaking New Ground, the AgriBuilty Project.
Excellent. And Bill, Breaking New Ground, what's your URL?
Yeah, breakingnewground.info. And we're welcome to contacts at any time. Call me directly if you want. It's 765-494-1191. And let me add one thing. A couple of years ago, our governor named Ed Bell and his family as the Indiana Farmer of the Year Award. And when you consider we have 60-some thousand active farmers in this state, that's quite impressive.
That is very impressive. I want to thank you both for spending time with us on the Independence Journal. Thank you so much. Well, our time is just about up. I want to thank our guests and my co-host Valerie Lewis. If you have any questions or suggestions, please email us at info@disabilityresources.org. Also, stop by our informative website at disabilityresources.org. Have a great week. I'm Avery Klauber. The Independence Journal is underwritten by Disability Resources, a nonprofit organization established to provide information for seniors and people with disabilities throughout the country.